Good.
All right, boys. Welcome to Looper Talk. My name is Tim Palmer. We have a special guest tonight, a fellow country club member, Jared Saltzman. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, right on. Um, Before I tell you about Jared, let me tell you about the country club. It's an elite online community filled with golfers, businessmen, entrepreneurs. It's a great access if you want golf information, if you want some insider tips on how to run a business, or if you want to simply be around elite people, whether it's golf or business, the country club provides that for you. And not to mention, it's online. So it's accessible all over the world. I will leave the link in my description. Please feel free if you're interested. Cam is now going to start doing yearly memberships only. So they will be, and again, it's affordable. I'm not sure where it's at now, but it was 72 a month. I think now he's gonna lower it down to 500 a year. But
Something
again,
like that.
yeah, we're not totally sure on that, but this is a very valid community if you want some business insights, some good elite golf coaching. It's a great community to be a part of. Now, let's talk about our man Jared. So before I tell you about Jared, I'm gonna say this. Jared is a sensei. He to me is very aware and understanding of how people act, how you react. And so this conversation is going to taper along some psychology stuff, which I dabbled in college. I'm very novice on it, but Jared is very equipped when it comes to personalities and understanding how to navigate around those personalities. So Jared was in the sports um, was it sports and wasn't just sports, it was entertainment, right? Sports entertainment apparel. And
Licensed
you
apparel.
sold
That's right.
right, and you sold 2 companies that were worth 8 figures apiece. So we're talking also to a businessman. Again, this is part of the country club. Me and him would have never met if it wasn't for the country club. And so this is exactly what
I'll
it's
just
all.
give you a really quick bit about the country club, what I like about it so
Oh,
much, and
yeah.
I'll let you continue.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
tell me.
like joining the country club and having conversations like this. I'm a big golfer, as you know,
Yeah,
and it's like signing up as a single and getting to the first tee, and you never know what you're going to meet. And you could meet two assholes and one great guy, or you could meet three great guys or three assholes. You never know. But that's life, right? You get to
yep,
choose whether you ever want to see that guy again or that person again or
exactly.
not. So that's what I like about the country club. And like you said, I never would have met you, and we would never had these amazing conversations if it
No,
wasn't for the
I
country
right?
club. Yeah.
And so the thing about Jared is we have someone who's an entrepreneur mindset. He has a really good business mindset. He understands that, but now he's a consultant and he runs a psychology personality assessment that can help these businesses understand hiring practices or even within the management system what personalities will fit certain roles. And it's called DISC. And I'm going to let him explain more about it so I don't butcher the shit out of it. But before we had this podcast, me and Jared talked for about 2 hours. It was maybe even a little more than that. And he gave me a personality assessment. And so that alone revealed a lot about myself, obviously, but it showed the importance of understanding psychology within the business world. And as we know, when you taper that into golf, the mental game in golf is a huge component at becoming a better player. Uh, it was really cool to be a part of, and that's what Jared does now. It's Jared Saltzman Consulting, right? And is
Yep.
that the name of the company? If what I'll do at the end is I will leave a tag if you wanted. What is it? $100 a test, maybe?
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
for your viewers, we'll figure all that out. I don't
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't really sell it. You know that. I'm not a
yeah. Right.
sales guy.
I
I'm
want
not.
to
Those
make some.
days are over.
I want to make him some money a little bit,
Yeah, no, no,
but
no. We'll worry about that later. If
but if
anybody
you're
if anybody wants to learn more, they can reach
yeah,
out to you and you can connect them with me.
okay. Well, it's just okay, but the thing that I is so intrigued about it is if you are a business owner or if you simply just want to learn about yourself, this test is incredible because it really exposes the strengths, the weaknesses, everything about yourself. And the more you do learn about yourself or your fellow coworkers, you can really develop and create something that is amazing because you'll know how people interact when it becomes to stressful situations. You'll understand their underlying fears, why they feel this way, why they act a certain way. And especially if you run a major big time business, this assessment would extremely be beneficial for you because you will then learn how to navigate your employees, and you can even have these employees when you hire them take this test, and you will know exactly what positions they'll fit better in. So, um,
All true.
yeah, I found it amazing. So now to go into this, I want to talk some golf really quick because Jared had a trip to Arizona, correct?
Yeah, I mean, it all ties in
And
perfectly.
it all ties in with personality
Yeah,
stuff, right? So
yeah, it all ties in.
tell us about your trip. I know a little bit about it, but you went down. What part of Arizona did you go down to?
Scottsdale.
Okay.
Scottsdale was it was a great trip.
Yeah.
Played 7 rounds in 4 days.
Mhm.
We flew in on Sunday, we played 18 on Sunday, 36 Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then flew home on Thursday.
Oh, you played 3 days of 36.
3 days of
Oh,
36.
you are a by the way, he's a golfaholic. He what,
Yes.
160 days a year?
60
And
rounds,
he oh,
or take
160 rounds, and he
rounds,
lives in
yeah.
Canada. So he's not in Florida where he can golf 300 rounds. We got what? You got a 6-month season up there?
Yeah, I mean, I travel too to play golf, so I
Okay.
extend it wherever I can, but yeah,
Okay.
we play golf end of April until beginning of November here
Okay.
in Toronto.
That's impressive, man.
Yeah, so
That's
it's a long winter, right?
yep.
And everybody wants to get better at golf, I'm sure. I
Mhm.
know I do, and, it's my 10th year of taking golf really seriously. I used to be a weekend, hacker, and now I'm taking it a little bit more seriously. So I took a couple of lessons over the winter, and I was itching to play. So, we're on the plane, my buddies and I were talking about we're landing, we're going to the Phoenician Golf and Country Club. I don't know if you've heard of that one,
Mm-mm.
and we're late. It's typical, like right out of a movie. I'm
Oh, yeah.
stumbling to get the rental car. These guys are waiting for the luggage. I screw up picking the car. I went the wrong way in the airport turn. I had to loop all the way around again. I pick them up. We're late. We're getting there to the golf course. We're getting undressed and changed in the parking lot. One of my buddies opened his bag, and of course, like I said, right out of a movie, his driver was snapped. The head was snapped, so he had to get a loaner. And before you know it, we're standing on the first tee.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm all in my head, and like, this is all bullshit. I need to warm up. I need to hit a couple of putts. I need to know if the driver's going left or right. I got to do something. But no, I got no time.
Yep.
So I hit my drive, and I just missed the fairway on the right. And I got on the green. I two putted for par. Did the same thing on number two, and I'm like, wow, these lessons that I like, it's all working, right?
Yeah, right,
So
100%.
fast forward, I shot 78 that day, and 5 of those, strokes were because of putting, and I didn't know the greens. I think I hit 14 greens that day. Everything was working. My driver, my approach shots, everything was good. And then I go to bed that night, and I'm like, "Wow, this could be the year. Maybe Cam's right. Maybe I can go down to a scratch from a 6." And I'm all excited. I get up the next morning. We go and we play Weekopa, the
Yep,
the
yep,
the
yep.
the Choya course. Beautiful,
Yep.
beautiful. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. It's a 400 and something yard par four, and everybody's like, "Yeah, I should lay up on the right." But I pull the driver. And I go, "This is it, man. This is your hero." And I spank that baby right down the middle of the fairway. And again, I'm in the cart, and I'm going, "This is it. I'm gonna be a fucking pro this year. This is the year where I play good golf." I pull my lob wedge because it's cart path only. I walk out there, I laser it to 80 yards, I pull my lob wedge, and I fucked it up. I hit it thin, bladed it over the
Yeah.
green, made double bogey, and
Mhm.
from there, it just went downhill. Like, I played so bad the rest of the day. The next, 35 holes were brutal. I shot high 80s, and I'm like, "Fuck, it's over." And I was always wondering because when it comes to personality, I couldn't get out of my own head, and I'm wondering, if
Yeah.
you were on my back, you're my caddy, what would you do to help me or stop me from derailing like that?
It depends on what you were doing. To me, it sounds like you were I call it trying too hard.
I felt like I was trying too hard.
Yeah, when I've noticed when people try too hard, it's because they try to control something they can't control, and that's why you keep trying so hard because it's like these heroin users when they keep trying to chase the dragon, they get so fat, they keep chasing it, chasing it, chasing it, realizing that that dragon actually never exists. I think when we have expectations going into golf, that's why you played the first round so good because you didn't really know what was happening. You didn't understand the outcome wasn't your worry. What
Right.
you were worried about was the situation at hand. But then the next day you had time to think about things. Did you look at the course the night before? Get all the
Yes.
full, yeah, there you
Of
go. So
course.
that's
Yes.
you are what you're doing is you're setting yourself up to have these expectations accordingly, and I'm not saying that's wrong. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but what you have to realize is in golf, the only thing you can really control is the moment at hand.
Yep.
And so I think a really good caddy would start trying to talk to you about stuff that's not golf related at all.
Huh.
Complete
Interesting.
get you completely into a different mind because it's like a box. So imagine there's a 10-foot box around the ball. And when you step inside that 10-foot box, yes, that's your time to think, embrace what's in front of you, try to the best you can at golf, care. But then when you leave that box, you have to find a way to detach yourself because golf is so stressful and it is so hard already that if we continually force the issue over and over and over again, we're going to end up, it's like quicksand. The more I fight, the deeper I sink. The minute I let go and I let the quicksand do its thing, then it lets me free. And it's much easier said than done. It's not something where I can just tell you what to do and then poof, guess what? We're doing it.
Right.
That's the type of situation that requires experience. So, what I would tell you, that trip was very beneficial for you. I know you didn't play well, and it was probably really annoying because
Really annoying.
you had all this expectations, you had all this effort, you had even some financial investment into it, and so when you get to Arizona, you're thinking, "Man, this is it. I've done my lessons, I've played well here, I've done my homework, I'm looking up the courses. Okay, I expect a certain outcome now." But the problem with golf is it's not like a math equation where everything is so structured. It is a very subjective situation. So the one thing I'll tell you is it's good that you went through that because
Yep.
what you're going to start to realize is when you do have these trips coming up again, you'll try to be much more on the side of, I'm just going to let things be what they are. And then you'll start to trust your subconscious more. So the things I would start asking you is, okay, anyone can play well when they feel well, but when you started feeling bad, did you start forcing issues? Did you start forcing the clubs, thinking, okay, well, no matter, even if I don't feel good about it, I'm still going to hit this club? Or did you try to let yourself maybe go, okay, I'm 80 yards away. Instead of using a lob wedge or even a sand wedge, why don't I just use a gap wedge, take a much shorter swing, and accept the fact that I can be 20 feet from the hole and maybe just worry about two putting from there for now until my swing starts feeling better, right? So I don't know, and that I did this a lot too in tournaments in college. I would have a really good practice round, and then I would show up the next day and play like shit, and
Yeah.
that's because during the practice round I played well, and I'm thinking, okay, this is my expectation. I shot 67 in the practice round. I'm going to shoot low tomorrow because I know the course. And so I'd get to the course and I'd have these expectations and I would shoot 10, 12 strokes higher sometimes. And I think a
Sure.
lot of it was I was too caught up in the foreshadowing of the moment instead of thinking about the situation at hand. And but that's something you just don't learn from people telling you that. What you have to do is you have to continually put yourself under that experience and it'll come. And even then, I still do it. I still
Yeah.
sometimes will show up to a course and have these little expectations, but because I know what I'm doing and I understand it now, I can learn how to let it go. And to me, what helps me out personally when I learn to let it go is I'll start singing a song.
Yep.
And
Let me ask you something else then.
yeah.
Would you treat an amateur golfer like me on a golf trip, I mean, I was surprised that some of the courses didn't require mandatory caddies.
Right.
So, would you treat somebody like my group different than somebody who's, say, a scratch golfer who's training for an event or in an event?
No,
Would you change your mindset?
no,
No,
no.
it'd be the same. So you
Yeah.
know exactly what to do in most situations when you're caddying for a golfer, no matter what level they're at, right?
Yes, and I would tell people, to me, it's not gonna be the same per golfer or per day. It really depends. It's a very subjective train of thought there because you might be in a good head place one day, and so therefore, I'm not gonna do some of the things that I can do, and then some days you're gonna be a total train wreck, so I have to adjust accordingly. But yes, I mean, scratch golfers plus handicaps. I mean, I just shot 76 the other day, 77. I was an absolute train wreck then. I
Yeah.
mean, sure, I'm not like freaking out, throwing clubs, having a shit day, but that's the more you
The
realize that golf is just so fucking hard that you're never going to control it.
I've realized it.
Right.
I'm trying to egg you on here because I'll be honest, that's what I really wanted to talk to you about. Because
Yeah.
after we met and I started looking at your social media, I was like, "Holy shit, look at this guy. He's so direct." If that guy caddied for me, he'd probably throw me out of the cart. Like, he'd be so pissed off at the way I play golf and the way some of my friends play golf. And I've played with caddies before, and I've had really good experiences, and I've had a couple of not so really good experiences, and I've had a couple of buddies that wanted to leave a caddy or 2 in a lake. And I've sort of, mediated the release of that. And I just wonder, like, you're a pretty outspoken guy,
Okay.
and I knew your personality type before you did my personality assessment,
Yes.
and I had a good feeling that that assessment would provoke a lot of thought in
Hmm.
you, and everything that you just said to me to coach me on a golf course, it's literally identical to what I would coach my clients or my friends or my wife even
Hmm.
in certain situations because it is fluid and it's never the same thing on the same day twice. Never
Right.
is. It's always a different lie, different wind speed, different temperature, different situation, everything.
Right.
And that's what I love so much about life. And, now that I've sort of learned about personalities, and, you were talking earlier about helping organizations and teams and whatnot. But to be honest, it really starts here. It starts with self.
Hmm.
And that's what I knew. I knew it would knock you between the eyes because you fall into a very specific category, a direct category that represents 3% of the world's population. And I told you right then and there, like that means 97% of the world doesn't think like you do. And so if you're having a hard time getting your message across, this might be why. And so learning my friends, just my friends, my family on the golf course, in the boardroom, everywhere, it
Hmm.
just keeps showing up these patterns everywhere and everywhere.
Hmm.
And I know all this. I know it, but I can't do it. I can't self-coach on the golf course. I know everything that you just said. I know it.
Oh yeah.
And I just still make the same mistakes, and I
Oh
keep
yeah.
compounding and compounding. So frustrating.
It is. And
So
I
frustrating.
I think a lot of what y- I think a lot of what you're searching is not a concrete pattern where if somebody like myself or whoever tells you A plus B equals C, things will just fix themselves. I think what you're starting to realize is the only way to gain the information you're looking for is through your own personal experience. And that's
Bingo.
yes, and I think
Bingo.
that's the only way to really, and now you can have people that will guide you, do the best they can to maybe prevail or give you some brand new information that will have you thinking differently. But in order for you to actually exercise it and to perform it and to understand what the person is saying,
Yep.
you have to be in the moment and embrace either the positive or the negatives within that moment and try your best to learn from whatever that is and just move on to the next moment. And that's something, even as a professional caddy, I suck at caddying for myself. I'm terrible
Why
at
is
it
that?
because I have my ego. I have my best friend and then I have my ego. I'm supposed to be my best friend on the course, but yet I have my ego. And people think ego is a bad thing. It's not. It can be a positive. Ego can get you on the stage. Ego is not afraid for you to take chances, and sometimes taking those chances could really, really do well for you.
But ego could also be your biggest handicap.
100%. It's a double-edged sword
Yeah.
where it can kill, but you can also be killed by it. So and you're balancing out this internal conversation you're having. And so I'll tell you an example. This was the day I was shooting. I wasn't doing very well.
Okay.
Um, and it was mostly because of putting and the greens were punched. So obviously my ego's telling me, "Oh, the greens are punched. It's not your fault."
Been
Right?
there. Yeah.
Fine.
Well, for sure. Every excuse in the book. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So 3rd hole, I hit driver. I try to cut it off the bunker. It stayed straight, and it gets pinned up on the lip. I chunk it out, hit it on 2 putt for bogey.
Yeah.
Next hole, I miss a 3.5-foot putt for birdie because it did. It really did. There was this huge old hole right in front of the hole, and it bounced, and it ended up lipping out. It's fine. We're just playing around. So then we go to the 5th hole, which is another par 5, and it's this downwind hole, and I missed my drive. So now I'm 240 out instead of 200, and the fairways are aerated too, so there's a bunch of sand on them. And I have my 5 wood out, and I stand over it, and I'm thinking, "No, just not doing it. This is not gonna do it, dude. You haven't been playing as much as you usually have. You only play 3 to 4 times a month right now because you got young kids. If you just why are we doing this? We can still make birdie the other way."
Oh
So
my
I put
God.
my ego aside finally, hit the pitch and wedge short of the creek, and then I hit another pitch and wedge on, and I had a 20-footer for birdie.
Hmm.
Barely missed the putt, fine, it was an easy par. But in that moment, 10 years ago, I would have never even thought about ever laying up. Because for me from 240, there's no way I'm laying up, dude.
Right.
I
Right.
don't care. I will hit the damn 5 wood. But
You're at my that's my top out. Like to 240 for me is tough for me to get to at my age with
oh,
my
well,
3
hey,
wood.
at the end of the day though, it's what we could learn, or at least what I learned, even just in that little moment, was it's okay to understand that some days you're just not capable. And
But
that,
here's the amateur flip side of that coin, if
yeah,
you will, for a second, because I've been in that situation a lot,
yeah,
240,
yeah.
right? And like I said, at 240, I'm probably still going for it with my 3 wood. At
Okay.
250, I'm really thinking about laying out.
Right,
But
right.
I know even if I make it at 240, I'm gonna be at the front edge of the green with a 50, 60, 70-foot putt for eagle, if
Right.
in the best case scenario.
Yeah, yeah,
So
right.
to do what you did, pitching wedge, I think, like, that will get me to 10, 15, 20 feet, which is a much easier birdie try than a
Yes.
60-foot eagle putt,
Yes.
right?
Right.
But my problem is something changes. I know what you're gonna say, ego, but the ego in the moment is to hit the ball as far as I can.
Right.
That's the ego talking. But the overarching ego is still to get the lowest score so I can brag about it after, right?
Yes.
So how does this stupid ego always override the smart ego? Because I know I'm got a much better chance of making a birdie if I lay up. I know that with absolute certainty on a couple of specific holes at my home course.
So, in essence, there's 2 components of the ego. One is simply reactionary, where the other is a little more logical. Is that what okay. So,
Yeah.
if I was in that situation and I had 2 of those, I would first try to figure out my, um why my logical ego is not at the forefront, why the other ego is even there to begin with. If I can't figure that out, I would have to ask myself, What am I trying to do?
Yes.
Am I trying to impress other people? Am I trying to impress myself? Am I'm trying to learn something new maybe? I don't know, but when it comes to the non-logical ego, to me that sounds like there's an underlying reason there. And I would try to figure that out, which could be
Okay. I
hopefully so
figured it out. Right here, I figured it out just with
okay.
you.
Okay.
'Cause my personality is a lot like yours in the sense of being direct and spontaneous,
Yes.
right? Yours is a little more task oriented, I'm a little more people oriented, I'm a
Yep.
little more emotional than you, but you're pretty emotional a guy yourself, and so I just feel like I can make that shot, and I'd rather chip on and then make the birdie putt instead of lay up and then hit another approach shot. And it's I'm here to have fun. Like I've got every reason in the book why
Okay.
I'm going to hit that shot. But it is that spontaneous. A lot of times I'll have my buddies in my ear going, "You're not laying up. Like, come on, you can make it there. You can do that." So I've got to perform a little bit, and and I know that's where I'm losing my shots. And I've really committed this off season to having a plan and sticking to it,
Okay.
right? Another situation will be like I'm at a 320-yard par 4. There's absolutely no reason to hit driver. I say I'm gonna hit my 5 iron, 200, and then I'm gonna hit a gap wedge, 120 to get in there. And then all 3 my 2 of my buddies, they pull driver and they put it in the middle of the fairway, and I go, "Yeah, fuck this. I'm going to get my driver, and I gotta outdrive them." I
Yep.
do it all the time. I
Yep.
can't do it this year. I just
So,
wanted to know your
yeah, well,
perspective
that's
on
probably
that.
what it is then. It's probably some sort of underlying motivation, which to me, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that reveals a lot about yourself. That's how you learn about yourself. I think
No
you
patience.
should it doesn't need to be negative. It's okay to compete with your buddies and it's okay to showcase yourself. I think that's
Sure.
fine. But at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, what do you really want? Do you want to be proud of what you're doing in that moment, or do you want to be proud of the score you're going to shoot at the end?
Yeah.
And sometimes, if you'd rather shoot the better score at the end, then you're going to have to teach yourself it's you against the golf course today. It's not you against your buddies.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and again,
It's good
I don't
advice.
I don't really think at the end of the day though, you should constantly be in that mode. I think there should be moments where you're on a short par 4 and nobody's giving a shit and everyone's hitting driver and you go, "You know what, guys? Watch this shit." And then you
Mhm.
pull out the driver and hit it. You
Yep.
need to have those moments because that's how you
Absolutely.
build confidence. So, I would just be I would keep telling myself, "Hey, I'm going to adapt to the situation at hand." And I'm going to always remind myself that I don't have to do anything in this game. I can do whatever the fuck I want. It doesn't matter. I'll do whatever I want. But
Mhm.
just know w- before I have a train of thought or I have any of these ideas beforehand, understand what I'm really trying to achieve. And I have good buddies of mine that are 15, 18 handicaps, and I do some of the stupidest shit around them.
Yeah.
Why? Because same situation. Oh man, yeah, da da da. Watch this. He's gonna. And I mean, here's an example. There's this whole course called Tokati. It's out in eastern. It's not Eastern Oregon. It's Middle Oregon, but it's east of Eugene, about an hour and a half. It's in the middle of nowhere. It is one of my top 10 favorite courses of all time because it
Cool.
is. There's no houses on it. It's just in the bumfuck nowhere. You pull up on this gate. It's just a really good vibes course. It's amazing. There's this hole 13, and it's a snappy dogleg right, and I mean literally almost a 90-degree angle. And every year I try to slice a driver every year. And yeah, there's been few years. I mean, one of the years I shot really well. That's sure enough, I sliced that thing perfect around the corner.
Yeah.
Then last year I hit it in the trees both times.
Okay.
And it's I'm not playing a tournament, so I really understood that I'm not gonna get mad over this shot because I'm not here for score, I'm here to impress everyone else around me. So I'm gonna hit some stupid shots today, but that's okay. I'm learning, I'm assessing the situation, I'm okay with failing because I understand the risk I'm taking. That's another thing too that people don't realize. I saw this on a video not that long ago, a guy was talking on a podcast about it. In order to shoot 65, you have to be okay with shooting 85.
Sure.
You can't shoot 65 and think, "Oh, I'm just gonna play passive and things are gonna work out." You're gonna have to hit some shots that are going to be balls to the wall. Okay, that was ballsy as shit shot, but that's what I need to do today because my goal is to go as low as I can. Fine, but it's not even really that simple. It's the mindset of understanding the risk that you're putting yourself under to do what you have to do. So that's why, to tie it back to your trip from Arizona, even though you didn't play well and you felt like you failed, and I know this sounds so corny, to me, I would see it as a success in the terms of learning, because you really learned how you yourself handles pressure at the moment. You also learn that you have the balls to go after a
Yep,
course that you don't know very well. That to
yep,
me is
that's true.
huge. That to me is huge. Now,
Or
I know you didn't.
stupid.
No, fuck that. I'd rather you be that way than sit there hitting 4 irons off every tee and you
Oh, man,
shoot
there's
it.
nothing worse than getting up to the ball and going, "Oh, fuck, I had another 70 yards. I shoulda hit a fucking 3 wood." Like,
See what I
that's
mean?
yeah.
See what I
Yep.
mean?
Y
And
there's yeah,
it's just no way. So I would really tie in your Arizona trip as a win, not in terms of, okay, I didn't play well, fuck me, this is not it. No, I think you had a revealing um you had a revealing week there where it showed
yeah,
you weak points of your game. It showed you strengths of your game, and not only that, it showed you some mindsets that could work and not work. And so what you're
sure.
doing is you're chiseling out your sword so that the more you put yourself
Ooh,
in
I
that
like that.
situation, the better off you're gonna be down the road, because that's but you can't learn any other way than that. That's the hard part.
It's
It's
true.
it's it sucks because you would think reading a mental book and then watching some YouTube videos, you could just go out there and do your thing, and unfortunately, like life, and as you know as well as anybody, you can't run a good business unless you have failed, at least. I'm not even saying you have failed. You can't
I
do
have
anything
failed.
in right, you can't do anything in life unless you absolutely have the experience behind it to know what you're doing, and I think in order to gain that experience, unfortunately, it requires time and it requires some patience,
I
which I
remember
am.
when you were
Yeah.
talking to Matt, from the country club, the
Y
professional golfer,
yes.
and he was talking about, if you gotta keep putting yourself in that situation.
Yep.
And I thought about myself, and for years, I didn't wanna play money games with my friends because I always
Right.
felt, I have an addictive personality, number 1, I have a direct personality, number 2, I'm emotional, number 3. And so I'd get angry. It brings out the worst in me, some of those competitions, because I wanna win at all costs. And in golf, I don't wanna cheer against my friends to miss a putt or to hit a bad shot, but I also wanna win. I always wanna win, and I'd rather just play golf against the golf course and cheer for everybody to beat the golf course, you know what I mean?
Right. That's
It's
that's a
tough.
that's a good way of thinking, though, because I think if you're not playing this game professionally and trying to make money at it, yes, I think your train of thought would be much more conducive for less stress.
Yeah,
But if you wanna be a scratch golfer, unfortunately, that's gonna require some stress.
yeah,
That's the you get because you're gonna have to hit some shots you're not gonna wanna hit, or you're gonna have to learn how to play on days where you don't feel very good, or if I blade my wedge on the very first hole and make double bogey, well, I somehow have to get myself back in the mindset of, "Okay, let's stay in the moment." And that's the hardest thing in golf is to stay in the moment.
yeah.
That's the hardest I don't care swing-wise, technique, hitting it far, I don't give a shit. The hardest thing to do in golf is to stay in the moment. And even the pros on the PGA Tour, they don't do it because you watch them on the final round on Sundays, and you'll see what Aberg at the Sawgrass, right? He
Yep,
same shit. He ended up
yep,
losing his marbles there towards the end, and Cameron Young ended up winning.
yep,
And you're thinking, how is a guy? What was he? 3 to 4 strokes in the lead going into
yep.
Sunday? Well,
Looks
probably
well in
got out of the
control.
moment. Yeah,
Yep,
and it's very unusual, and everyone struggles with that. And
sure.
I don't think it doesn't even matter how good you are, you will always struggle with that. And so that's actually the one thing I work on the most is try to be as present as I can. And I had a buddy of mine in college tell me this, that's still profound to me, is your subconscious doesn't yell, it whispers.
Mm,
Your brain, your logic, your thoughts are what's yelling at you. You have to wait for those to settle down for you to hear the whisper.
Mm,
And I'm
that's
thinking
good
that
advice.
right, and so sometimes if I have a bad hole, I'll wanna grip the driver on a par 5, and I'm trying to go for it in 2, and maybe I haven't played much lately, and I don't feel very good, right? I need to let my subconscious tell me, "Hey, it's just golf. Double bogey's fine.
Mm.
What do you feel confident in doing right now? What do you feel the most comfortable doing?" And if it is driver, great. If it's not driver, that's fine. But instead of getting so lost in the double bogey that you had last hole, you have to figure out how to get present in what you're doing at that moment because what happened in the past is dictating your decisions now.
And that's where your personality and my personality differ. You become very tactical and you know how to plan and you know all the pieces that go into what you need to do to recover. And I could be 3 holes down, still emotional, wallowing in the sorrow of 72 is out of reach for today.
You are not alone, buddy.
And no, but it's why I never played competition golf because when it
Yeah.
goes off the bad side, it goes really bad, but I did join an amateur league 3 years this will be my 3rd season,
Okay.
and,
Good for
like,
you.
I'm really, like, on that cusp of amateur, but a good amateur, you know? Like,
Yes,
I
100%.
wanna be better, and you're right, it's gonna take a lot of that failure and man, there was just a couple of times in the playoffs where the brain farts come. I looked
Yeah.
like Robert McIntyre yesterday on 18 or Sunday on 18 when he snap hooked that thing way out of bounds and did you see
Yeah.
that shot? It was
Yeah.
brutal. But
Yeah.
I'm like, that's totally me, man. One
Mhm.
shot. I need a one hero shot, and I'll hit it 3 fairways over to the left and double cross myself. It's so fucking frustrating.
But that's so cool you joined that, man. Have you noticed a difference in your game since you joined the amateur league?
Yes,
Good.
definitely. And and I can tell you all the different things. Like, I don't mind playing competition golf with
Mm.
strangers. It's the money games with my friends where I feel I don't like that added pressure. And because if I lose, I have to pay. And if I win, I don't wanna take their money. So it's, like, messed up in my head, all of it. Like, I don't want any of it, but these
Yeah, right.
strangers that I've never met before, yeah, fuck, I wanna curb stomp these motherfuckers. Every single one of them.
Oh, I love it. I mean, it is interesting when you take money away from people and
Yeah.
you feel bad because you have a personal relationship with them beyond the golf course. And that's the thing about golf is it pries on your ego. It your subconscious, your underlying thoughts, there's a lot of stuff could filter out and get present on the golf course based upon golf. I don't know why it does that, but if someone has some serious internal issues at the moment and they play golf and then you take their money on top of that, oh boy, you just
Not
never
only
know
that,
the
like,
direction you're gonna get.
I've got a very complicated relationship with money as
Oh,
well,
yeah,
in the sense that I know how to make it and I know how to spend it,
yeah. Oh,
and so and being addictive, I don't trust my ego in certain
okay.
situations, so I have to kinda put the candy so far above that I can't reach it. I can't
Yeah,
touch it, and
right.
that serves me too, right?
Yep.
It's like, this is not the time to be the hero, you need to just shut the fuck up and play golf, right? This is out of your price range, and you don't wanna go there,
Yeah.
and
Oh, dude. That's
right?
oh, yeah. That
But
is
when I look at you, I mean, I wanna know, like, how long does it take you to figure out a golfer when you're caddying for them? How long does
it
it take you to
it's
figure
a
out
what
what's going
kind
on?
of player or mentally?
Both. What they're gonna
Uh,
do, what they should do.
I can almost look at your golf bag and tell you what kind of player you are.
Really? Now there's
I
an
will
interesting episode.
pretty much if I look at your golf bag, I can tell 2 things. 1, how serious you take the game, and
Mhm.
2, I don't wanna say quality in terms of playing, but the quality in terms of where you've played, what you perceive the game as. And someone has some rotten Nike bag and their driver's on the bottom pocket, I'm gonna say this, you probably don't take the game very seriously. and you have a lot of underlying motives of being here, and golf is not probably the main motive of being here. Whereas if I have a guy that's a really nice, neat bag and he's got a long towel hanging on it and there's all these shiny irons and everything seems really organized, I'm going to think you take this game very seriously. And so you have pride in your game and you want to, and again, we're not talking quality in terms of handicap because there's some 20 handicappers that have a really nice looking bag, and then there's
I
some
was gonna say
scratch
that, yep.
golfers that have some bags that you're thinking, "There's no way this dude is scratch," and sure enough, he is. But in terms of your perception of the game, I can really assess that through the look of your golf bag, which will then tell me almost your personality type in terms of, okay, can we have in-depth golf conversations, or are we going to be much more simple and just speak on numbers and what it's doing and talk about other things? And so when I see your golf bag, I can usually assess what sort of conversations I'm going to have on the golf course. Now, in terms of playing strictly potential of what kind of golfer I'm dealing with, it takes me about 1 to 2 shots.
Shots, not holes.
No, I just need to see you swing that I could tell by almost by the way you set up to it, if you're
Mhm.
athletic or not, and
'Kay.
then I can usually after you hit your first shot, I can tell what's going on.
Okay.
And, now personality-wise, now that's interesting.
Yeah.
Minimum a round, at
Minimum
least
around.
maybe a full round. I would give it up to maybe 2 to 3 rounds to where
So
then I
how do
can start.
you reconcile I mean, I don't know how when somebody comes to play with you at Bandon,
Mhm.
do you see them on multiple days, or do you usually just
Yes.
get 1 round while
No,
they're there?
we stay with people throughout the whole trip. There's 5 golf courses here, so more than likely, on average, I will be with them for 5 rounds at minimum.
Okay.
So,
I had the experience like that at Cabot out
yes.
east, you
Yep.
you familiar with Cabot?
No, Nova Scotia, right?
Right, yeah.
Yep, yep,
That's, Canadians would say that's kinda like our Pebble Beach,
yes. It
right
looks
on the
amazing
Atlantic
up there,
Ocean.
dude.
It's
That place
amazing.
looks unreal. So
It's
that's the same.
amazing.
Dream Golf owns that as well, so that's the same organization that owns Bandon.
Really?
Yes,
Okay. I had a great caddy experience there on that trip, and he was with me for all 5 rounds or 6 rounds,
good.
whatever it was. But it was good and bad. Like, he like you, he figured out my game in the first couple of shots, and I was there with my camera taking all these beautiful videos and
Mhm.
pictures, and he was basically, "Here's a 7 iron, hit it.
Yep,
Putter 3 feet left." There that but I went home that night, we're talking with my buddies, and I'm like, "Fuck, I don't remember anything about that golf course. Like, I don't remember anything." And this
yep,
caddy was taking me around and holding my hand and saving me
yep.
strokes and doing all these things. And on one hand, it was good because it helped me play better golf. But on the other hand, it was kind of like, I'm not remember anything. I'm not remembering anything. So I kind of
It's
had to
true.
retrain my mind
It's very true.
to
When
enjoy it.
someone's driving the truck, you don't understand the road very well. You just see the
Yeah,
scenery around it, and then
exactly.
you forget if you're even going north or south at that point. You just know that you I made it here. Here I am. Um,
So I'm going to ask you this because this is what I did to him. His name was Max. And I showed up at the first tee, and they introduced me. We all introduced the caddies, and at that time, like, we are just getting into this is 20 Canada Day, July 2024, a couple years ago. And I held up my iPhone. I go, "You ever seen one of these before?" He said, "Yeah." I go, "Do you know how to press record? Because that's all you got to do, buddy. I just want you to record every one of my swings, and I'll do all the film editing later." And it was a lot of fun. But I was wondering if I had done that to you, what would you say? Here's my
uh,
camera. Record every one of
oh,
my
I've done that in
swings.
a heartbeat. Oh, I
Yeah,
wouldn't.
it's fun.
Oh yeah, we're
Yeah,
here for you, man. To me, that's your experience, and we're here to provide that experience for you. Yeah, I would never turn that down. Yeah, I would love to do that for somebody if they said, "Hey, I have enough space in here, we can record 30 to 40 videos. Pick me the best shots you would want me to hit or what would look the coolest and we'll go from there." Yeah, I would do that in a heartbeat.
it was
That
so fun.
yeah, that's what and a caddy is not someone specifically for golf in a way. They're more or less it's like a guide.
Yeah,
And so that guide will help you whatever you necessarily need. And so I think really good caddies, they mirror personalities really well, and
yeah.
that's where the good caddies kinda sit is more or less not about how well their information is or what kind of information they're delivering. They are better caddies because they can mirror their personality to their player. And once you do that, then the information can flow better. And once that information flows better, then it becomes much easier for the player to adapt to what they need to do on the golf course. But a really good caddy is not going to be strictly because of their information. It's much more on a psychology situation where I have to learn who you are, what you need, and what you're looking for. And I have to not only know that, but then I have to act accordingly around you so that you can trust my information. So if I'm around a guy that's super racist and he's really derogatory and he lets it rip, I'm probably not going to have as much of a filter. If I have
Right.
a guy that's much more conservative in terms of their views and they're very quiet and they're not very outspoken, well, I'm not going to have these ravishing outlooks that I will with the guy I previously had. And it just
Is there a
depends on.
line that you have to draw? Like, is there too racist or is there too boring? Is there or is
No.
it just whatever goes,
Well, I think
you're there?
if it becomes more of a personal attack on me,
Mm,
that's where the line will be drawn. But in terms
okay.
of personal beliefs and all that, no, I'm not. I don't really care unless you're telling me you're about to sacrifice me because you're into paganism and you think the gods you came out here to sacrifice like some weird crazy shit like that. Then no, I'm not. We're not. I'm I'm out. But I don't. I've never dealt with someone that crazy before.
That's good.
I've had some interesting clients, but I feel like that would be borderline. Now, I've had clients that would make fun of me to my face, and then I would
Mm,
lash back at them and say something just as witty, if not wittier to them, and they get
I would
offended by
expect
that.
nothing less. Yeah,
Right,
they get
and
it
they
you
get
really
offended.
they just expect you to be the whipping boy.
Yes, and that's only in the 10 years I've been at Bandon, that's happened maybe 3 times,
Okay.
maybe, and most of the time, it's a very you could tell it's a very weird situation. I had these 2 gay guys that did that, and they were very strange, and they would one of them on the 18th hole smacked my ass, and I told him politely, I said, "If you do that again, I will break your hand off and shove it up your ass." And, he said, "Well, is that a threat?" And I said, "Well, you touched me first, so if you wanna go to the HR about it, we will have a long conversation at who's in the wrong here." So,
Mhm.
obviously, that job didn't end up very well, but
Right.
it's a very oh my god, like, I've never had that happen. That's I'm even thinking maybe 2 times. That
2
happened
times.
5 years ago. Yeah, and
Really?
they kept calling me Chili Palmer, and I didn't understand it, but it was
Ha!
I'm almost positive there was some gay reference there.
No!
Yeah, yeah, it was very and I'm not saying gay whatever, if you're gay, fine, just don't come in my house doing it. You go wherever you need to go. I don't care. We live in it's 2026, dude. I'm not gonna tell
Isn't
what
Palmer a reference from a movie? Wasn't that, that was a Danny DeVito movie with, what's his name? I think his name was Chili Palmer.
that might be it.
Yeah.
I don't know, but they loved it, they kept laughing at it, and the guy says, "If you keep it up, we're gonna take you home with us," and that's I just it's like, "Okay," and the reality was they were super drunk,
Yeah.
like, they were beyond hammered,
Is that
so
a problem at your course? Like, is that a problem when you're a caddy? Does that frustrate you at all when people are belligerent and don't take golf seriously?
it depends, you would have to be absolutely to the point where so I had a guy pass out, I mean, literally pass out. He had a fifth of vodka in his bag,
Yeah.
and he's sitting there chipping, and he's about to chip on this hole, and he gets over the ball and he starts wavering like this, and he takes a backstroke, and then he goes back to the ball, doesn't hit it, and he starts wavering like this, and then you hear this huge burp. I mean, like a huge burp, and after he burps, he falls over, completely falls over, and we walk over there thinking, "Oh shit, what's going on?" He was snoring.
It's
He f
incredible.
It was insane. I've never seen anything like it, so we had to call the Rangers. The Rangers had to pick him up, and his buddy paid for him that day, but it's fine. But
Yeah.
they told me, "Hey, he's gonna be a mess today, don't worry about it." He
Oh,
had
you
to
knew it,
let
you had advanced warning.
yeah, I had an advanced warning. He was a really nice dude. There was nothing on that terms, anything wasn't mean
You
to me or
just
anything.
overdid it. Yeah.
Oh, dude, he drank 2/3 of that 5th in a round, on top of having drinks sent to him too, so it was just and it got to the point where on the back, he would get the bottle out and just take little wigs of it and start putting it back in his bag, and I'm
Wild.
thinking, "Oh my god."
Are you a big drinker on the golf course when you're
I
playing?
I don't drink.
You don't drink at all, period?
No, I haven't, I've drank maybe 5 times in my life.
Why is that?
I've just never been good at it.
Never been good at it. I've never liked it. I used to drink, and then I
Yeah,
realized, it was a lot of empty calories, and,
yeah.
I would drink on the golf course, and I realized it wasn't helping my golf game. Now I'm no drinking on the golf course at all, and,
Oh, right
you
on.
know, I don't really drink all that much either anymore at
Yeah.
all, but
I
I used
well,
to.
I don't wanna say and when I say that, people, "Oh, wow, you're anti-drinking." I don't care.
I'm not anti-drinking.
Well,
I'm not
no, that
anti-smoking. I used to smoke cigarettes. I don't do that. I haven't done that in 20
oh,
years.
good for you.
I'm not
Yeah.
anti anything. I love it. I
Yeah.
think
Yeah,
everybody
right?
should do
I'm
it.
the same way. I think people have their vices. I just recently stopped smoking weed. I smoked weed for 17 years,
Yeah.
but now that I have the kids, I'll get back into it. There's no way I'm going my whole life not doing it.
That's one
That's
thing I didn't quit.
yeah.
I love smoking weed.
Right, and eventually I will get back to it. I think that's and I always remind people it's a personal thing. If you
Sure.
want it, I think everyone has their whatever, but to me, I have a very same deal. I get to the point where I would just come home and I would take 4 or 5 hits of the bong, and then I would just sit there and be a vegetable.
Yeah.
And so I figured with 3 kids, maybe be a little present for a while until they get a
Yeah.
little older, and then once they get older, I'll slowly back myself into it. But no, in college, um playing college golf, I did a lot of LSD, cocaine, mushrooms, did
Wow.
ecstasy a few times.
Yeah.
So I totally get it. I still to this day, if someone gave me 3 or 4 hits of acid, it would be really hard for me to say no.
That's crazy.
I know,
That's
right?
crazy. No, it's like, yeah, you're just bringing back memories. Say, I was married and divorced before.
God
My
bless you.
ex-wife my ex-wife was a real big drug addict, and her
Oh, yeah.
brother grew weed, in their house, and, you know, I had never done anything be I had never even smoked a joint before. I was 25 years old, I met her at a party. I said, "Hi, I'm Jared." She said, "Hi, I'm Amanda." She said, "Do you smoke cigarettes?" I said, "No." She said, "Do you wanna smoke a cigarette with me?" I said, "Sure." That was my first cigarette.
There
And
you
she
went.
said, Do you smoke weed?" I said, "No." She goes, "You wanna smoke a joint with me?" "Sure." Smoked my first joint that August 1st, 1999. I
Oh,
remember it like it
man.
was yesterday. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah. That was when weed was good. I mean, it's
yeah.
still decent now, but everything's hybrided out, and there's so many strains that all smell and taste the same. Where I feel like back then it was much more. You had different strains with different tastes, and everything was more
That was a
pure.
crazy year. That was a crazy
Oh
year. So
yeah.
I did ecstasy for the first time there,
Oh,
and
God
then it
bless
was
you.
kinda like yeah, it was kinda like, "Okay, I'll smoke and I'll swallow a pill, but I have 2 rules. I'll never snort and I'll never
Okay.
inject."
Yeah.
So, I never tried cocaine, and having an addictive personality like I do, cocaine would have probably killed me.
Yeah. There's one drug
Yeah.
I did a few times, and after the 5th or 6th time doing it, people, hey, uh, I'm not doing this shit anymore because I can tell you I'm starting to like it a little too much. There's
Yeah.
no fucking way I'm doing this, dude. I'm
Yeah.
done. And so
Yeah.
I stopped doing that. The Molly and the ecstasy, I stopped as well pretty
Yeah.
fast because I knew that
Same.
I could see the road, and I'm thinking, no fucking way, dude. There's no way I'm going down this road.
I
Uh,
went to a rave, okay, one night.
oh
So
yeah,
I had this girl was great. We met, I smoked for the first time, I did ecstasy for the first time. I shit you not. So August 1st, '99, we met that night. 6 weeks later, middle of September, we're engaged, and then the
oh
following August, we get married, and, I bought a house, I did everything. I wanted to go from the single guy to the married guy. This is gonna be it.
yeah.
And, the night that we took possession of the house, it was a Saturday, we went to a rave that night, and I had the appliance installers coming at 9 o'clock on Sunday morning. And I remember passing out, I don't remember passing out. I just remember the doorbell ringing, and I went up and I got the door, and it was this old man ready to do the appliances, and there was about 25 people asleep, passed out on my floor, scattered around the house. And my brother-in-law, my future brother-in-law, was lying in the kitchen in the spot where he had to install the dishwasher. And that's when I just looked around and I'm like, "Yeah, this is never going to happen again. Like, this is
Y
it, and I
yeah,
never touch
100%.
this stuff ever again."
That
But it was
I
awesome.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's wild,
I
but
could
it's
see why people love it.
oh, yeah. Makes you feel bad for people that grow up with a lot of money, and they've gotten away with a lot of shit their whole life. They just don't
Sure.
understand the difference between the 2, and so they go down that road, and then they get so deep down that road that they have nowhere to go, but
I
they
wasn't
just
sure if we were gonna talk about Tiger Woods today or not.
oh, boy. Oh,
Perfect
boy.
example, right?
Oh my gosh. Well, and I don't wanna say this too mean because I do feel for him in a way.
Me too.
I hope he gets better, but I think he needs to be accountable,
Yep, me too.
and
I
I
know that's
think
a big thing for you, right?
yes.
Like this from what I get garner from your social media, you're a rules guy. You're an injustice fighter. You know, that's your lot in life. And well, if I'm gonna have to pay the price for this, why didn't that guy have to pay the price for that?
Yeah.
And that I think I like that about you. I think
Well,
it shows a lot, it reveals a lot about your character.
I just want people to be held to the same standard, and I think if we're gonna have a standard and we're going to have rules in place, or we're going to have these environments where we have to abide certain guidelines, then this shouldn't matter who you are. I don't
Yeah.
care. It to me, if we're gonna do it right, then let's do it right. We're not. I don't like the half. I have a hard time half-assing shit.
Yeah.
I really do. It's one of the biggest pet peeves in my life, and if I ever do anything in life, I will fail and fail and fail until I get it right. And even if I feel like I get it right, I will try something different and fail at that until I get it right. But I will never tell myself, "Okay, let's just do barely enough to get this done." I no, it just doesn't happen.
Sure.
I don't know how I'm built that way, but man, I just can't do that. I would rather suck at something for the rest of my life knowing I'm trying I don't wanna say perfect it because I think perfection's an addiction too, where it gets to the point I, to me, would rather do something knowing that it's the best possible way of doing it instead of me thinking, "Okay, we're just going to accept the basic principle of getting it done." I just I can't. This is not in my blood. And so to have a guy like Tiger and him embodying this image of perseverance, stability, work ethic, and then to see him where he's at now, it to me just makes you wonder where where exactly is it going to go? Because to me, I think golf is still heavily relied on his image.
Sure.
That's one of the main reasons why professional golf is still somewhat progressing because he is the only person, in my opinion, that moves the needle at all.
Would agree with you there.
I think most of these professional golfers are so robotic now that even the better players in the world, they are such in a niche crowd to where the crowds aren't, at least for me, the real OG golfers or the people that have been in the golf industry for a long time. We're not watching the PGA Tour nearly as much as we did in the early 2000s, late
Agreed.
late 90s.
Yeah.
And so I think at some point we're gonna have to face that at the front. And to me, it's not gonna happen until Tiger becomes accountable for what he's doing and admits to the world what exactly is going on, because I don't know what it is. I have my conspiracy theories for sure.
I
Um,
remember you saying that, and I did a little bit of a deep dive on him there as well on that topic. I started asking myself, is he the Lance Armstrong of golf?
I've been saying that for years. My dad and I have been saying that for the last 10
Is
years.
that exact saying? He's the Lance Armstrong of
Yep.
golf?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, no
Well,
kidding.
because so if you watch him from 98 to 2002, he gained about 30 to 40 pounds of muscle. And I am somebody who works out religiously 3 to 4 times a week, and I work out as hard, if not harder than anybody.
Yeah,
It took me 10 years to gain 15 pounds of muscle.
sure.
Now, I'm sure there's ways that I'm not a professional trainer. I was blessed that my dad's best friend was, so therefore he led me down a path, but he told me, because he did steroids, and he told me, "Look, you can't get these kind of a bodies unless you do some sort of substance. Most of the time it's illegal. Whatever the substance is, it's down the road, it's going to hurt your body."
Yeah,
So he told me, this is how I would have done it differently. I would have never went to heavyweight. I would have kept it at a medium weight and kept the reps up at medium. And I would have worked on chiseling out my body to where you can see the muscles. I don't want big, I want structured. And that's
sure.
how you know. And that's why, to me, I've always been fascinated about the Greek Roman statues because that's how they look. You
Yeah,
don't see them real bulky with the huge neck band, pecs sticking out to here, and muscles that are massive. What you do is you see them as a 180-pound structure, but you can see every muscle in their body. And that tells you, to me, that's a healthy individual. He's
mm,
obviously performing, his muscles are engaged, he's got a lot of blood flowing to these muscles, he's working on each one of them to gain strength. That's why you're able to see them. But anyway, so Tiger, those 4 years, he gained a lot of muscle really fast. And that, at the time, I'm 12 years old, so I don't know any different. I'm not thinking these
sure.
thoughts then.
Yeah,
But if you notice, from about 2002 to 2009, he went on a slow decline.
mm,
And sure, he won some majors. Not saying he didn't, but when he was in the mid 90s, man, he was frail looking. I don't want to say frail, he's just thin.
yeah,
But dude, his dominance was insane. It
I
was
know,
incredible.
I
And
know.
then he started the Navy SEAL training. And so what my trainer told me is, when you do steroids, you start having these thoughts, and you start having these perceptions about yourself. You start thinking differently. It becomes a game, more or less, because you think you can do stuff now because you have these thoughts of invincibility. And so my dad and I have been saying that forever. Once he started doing the Navy SEAL training, that to me was a sign of, I am under a substance that makes me think that I have to perform at something to prove to the world that I'm this Billy badass, which is, again, I'm not saying Navy SEAL guys do steroids, but I think a lot of the guys that are in the Navy SEAL training, they are doing it because they want to take care of our country from a military standpoint. Tiger Woods did not do Navy SEAL training because he was gonna go to the military.
Nope.
He did Navy SEAL training because he wanted us to what? See him in a certain light. That's the only reason why he did it. And
Superhero status. I can
yes,
understand that.
right? And
Yep,
so, and then the 2009 situation happened, and
yep,
one of the side effects of steroids is libido,
yep,
because you have so much testosterone flowing through your body that you have this uncontrollable libido, and when that becomes at the forefront of your brain, you tend to have a hard time controlling it, and that's what happened there. And so now fast forward, he has all these injuries because of steroids, because his body is absolutely torched from the steroids compounding his bones with his muscles. His body was never meant to be that big, and so it
yeah,
and so now he's having to take opioid pills to not feel pain 24/7.
yep,
And now you're left with what you have now.
yep,
And I knew something was off when you would watch the TGL and he is pouring sweat
yep.
down his face, and I'm thinking, we're in an air conditioned place. You're not overweight. What what in the fuck are you doing, dude?
Go
Why?
back even further. I
Oh yeah.
remember his press conference on that Sunday night before the first car accident, before he
Oh yeah.
totaled that car, like, he was fucked
Sweat.
up.
I
He
know,
was
dude.
so out of it.
I
Like,
know.
but it makes you wonder, like, where's his team? Like, who lets him get behind the wheel like
I
that?
know. I know.
Like, did you see the camera footage from him lying in the cop car? Like, he
Oh,
was
yeah.
out of it, man,
Oh
like, it was bad.
oh, I know. It
I could
was.
never want, and I'm so pissed off at all those social media accounts for broadcasting it, like, all the golf pages. It was brutal. I felt bad for the guy. That was just
Yeah,
awful.
I know, and it's the fact that we're showcasing it like he's a zoo animal
Yeah,
I
exactly.
is sort of, is not very ethical.
No,
Um,
no, and the shame on the police department for making that
yeah,
public the way they did.
right,
It's kinda
because
gross.
they didn't do it to spread awareness. They did it for a publicity situation, or they did it for some self-reliance. Who knows the motive there, but I don't think it was a motive to help them. I think it was a motive to personal gain. And so my final thoughts on that is I do hope he figures it out. I will never wish harm on any human,
Yeah,
but I think for the sake of the golf world, if he doesn't come clean about what he's doing and what's been going on, I think eventually we're going to end up in a spiral where the golf
yeah,
world is going to, and I'm not speaking on recreational golf, I'm speaking strictly professional golf, where professional golf is going to go down this spiral because it became too expensive. And now you're leaving a certain social class to be the only ones attainable to have that dream in front of them, where you're going to have a certain mold of a person. And when you create that, what you're going to do is you're going to find that the middle class does not find the product relatable anymore. And when that happens, then the middle class is slowly going to wean themselves off of watching this because it's the same. It's like, to me, I always say the metaphor, it's like chicken noodle soup. If you get served it, yes, that's fine, but it's not the first thing you're going to pick on the menu. It's a very boring food. Yes, it's beneficial and yes, it'll work, but you can only advertise chicken noodle soup for so long. And after
I'm with
that,
you.
and at some point, if we don't try to change the product and we don't try to make it somewhat more appealing for the masses, it's going to continue down this